Hi again, and welcome back to On the Move, where we go behind the scenes of some of Forsyth County's larger construction projects and give you a sneak peek behind the curtain at progress happening in your community. Well, in the year 1996, the Summer Olympic Games were in Atlanta, and just down the road off of Lake Lanier, the Macarena was the craze across the nation. You guys remember the Macarena, right? We might do that here in a little bit. The president at the time was Bill Clinton. He was heading into his second term in the White House. And here in Forsyth County, the administration building in downtown Cumming had just opened, with a population in Forsyth County just over 60,000. Now today, nearly 30 years later, a population over 280,000, as Forsyth County is eyeing its new home of government operations here off of Freedom Parkway in northeast Forsyth County at the new Freedom Park campus, coming here in just a couple of years. Guys, should we take it back to 96, a little Macarena to start things off, or do y'all just want to dive in? Maybe later. Let's
follow your lead.
Let's dive into it. Let's talk about what this new campus is going to be. David, let's start with you on the why of this. Why is Forsyth County making the move for its government operations, and why here off of Freedom Parkway?
So, Russell, that's a great question, and thanks for having me today. I'm standing here listening to your statistics going back to 1996, and I'm also reminded that yesterday the Atlanta Regional Commission released their updated population numbers. Forsyth County is expected to have the largest percent of population growth between now and 2050. With that in mind, we have to make sure that we're able to deliver the services that are needed to the citizens are here. So to answer your question, why now and why up here off of Freedom Parkway? Number one, availability of land and the price of land. So that's number one. Number two, we have vastly outgrown the administration building that we're in now. I was on the telephone this morning with an individual that works in asset management and water and sewer. And the office space that they work in is nothing more than a closet that 3 people are crammed in. Your communications team, I would encourage anybody that wants to come look at that atmosphere that y'all do and the high quality that y'all provide and the tight quarters that are there. Also, we have about 13 different departments that are spread out over both rented space and some county-owned space throughout the county and throughout the city limits. So it makes it very difficult for collaboration, individual collaboration of employees, but also very difficult for the citizens to know where to go. What you will have at this facility behind us right here across the street is going to be a one-stop concept where it doesn't matter if you're here to meet with a commissioner or meet with a department head or get a permit or get a business license. That one-stop concept is going to happen right here behind us.
All right, again, that's off of Freedom Parkway. John Jefferson, let's bring you in. He's the Director of Capital Projects for the county. You've been very intimately involved in this project for the past couple of years now. Tell us what separates this from being a building and actually being a true campus, as we're calling it.
Sure. So the new facility will incorporate 17 individual departments into one building. The Commissioner's public meeting room will be feature out in front. We'll be able to separate that public meeting room from the remainder of the building, so it'll be available to the commissioners, to staff, and to the general public, and we'll be able to close off the remaining portion of the building. So that'll make it more secure for county staff and also reduce operations cost. We're going to have parking available for the general public, for county staff, and also for county vehicles in one location. There'll be designated areas in the parking lot for that. We're also going to have a wellness center, a fitness center. Charity's going to talk more about that later. And we've also got some retail space that we'll be able to lease out for functions such as an eatery, dry cleaners, maybe a pocket pharmacy that will be available to county staff as well as the general public.
Russell, I think it's important to know at occupancy time, when we occupy this building, we're going to move in at roughly 280, a little over 280 employees. We talked about that population growth. We have the potential that we can grow upwards of 500 employees in this building. At that 500 employee mark is very similar to what we have today, where we're sitting on top of one another, shared hoteling space. So I think the takeaway is to what John's saying is it's a campus, and the other piece that he's not saying is we have the ability to grow. The building's going to be built so that we can mirror it just to the south in future years.
Charity Clark, she is the Director of Employment Services here for the county. What does this mean from an employee's perspective? I imagine that for all employees that will be working here, this is going to be a great thing for retention as well as recruitment, right?
Absolutely, Russell. So employees, I think, are excited about the opportunity to come back together with their departments and other departments. There'll be a lot of collaboration, as Mr. McKee said, being able to work within your department with your staff, not be segmented. It really leans into what we're really working hard as a leadership team is culture. And to be able to have this campus that allows the collaboration and the camaraderie really helps build and support the culture that we're trying to bring to our employees, to definitely help with recruiting our top talent to serve the customers at the highest possible level and to retain those throughout the life cycle of their employment.
Yeah, you might have just answered the next question right there too, but from an employee's perspective, yeah, this is a great thing. And being an employee for Forsyth County, this would be wonderful for my staff and for our entire team here in Forsyth County. But from the general public's perspective, there's been some commentary online about this, about do we really need an employee center? Do employees need to have this dedicated space for them? It sounds like that answer in today's culture to attract the best is yes. So what does an employee center mean for the general public at the end of the day?
So I think what the general public can really look to see from the employee center and to reap the benefits is, number one, in organizations that are successful with a health management and wellness program usually see over an 80% satisfaction rate from employees. Happy employees provide excellent service, and that's what we are, a service organization. We have an outstanding community that I think that deserve the greatest service, and by having healthy and well employees, not only will they get that service, but they will see a reduction in a lot of the healthcare costs. Aside from salaries, healthcare and benefit costs for employees are one of our biggest spends, and we really are honing in on having the opportunity to bring a health management program with the employee center, as well as continuing to invest in that culture and that camaraderie, to be able to have a place that all employees, not just the employees that are going to be on this campus, but all employees that are spread from the north to the south, to have a place to congregate and feel like we're one Forsyth. And that's what we're really aiming for with this employee center.
Russell, I want to, if I may, just a second, I want to add, and Charity hit on this, but I want to make sure that we hammer this home. Without the place to do what she was just talking about, without the location to where employees feel comfortable going and meeting with that wellness coordinator, going and meeting with the employee services staff, it won't happen. It's a direct benefit to not only the employees, they provide a better customer service, but at the end of the day, if it's a better value to the citizens, that's exactly why we're doing it.
All right, so there it is. So that answers a few of those questions that have been really talked about online the past couple of weeks. Another one that's been out there talked about on social media that we really wanted to address here today is regarding the whole health facility. There were plans initially for a whole health facility on this campus. As of recent weeks, those plans no longer are part of this project. So what's happened there over the past couple of weeks? What are we looking at for the future of whole health in the county?
Yeah, so I think whole health goes along with what Charity was just saying, and you're right. There was a whole health facility that was proposed on this campus. What we have simply done is separated that as a separate project. We're going through a needs assessment approach right now, and really looking at what other options are available for a Forsyth County centric whole health mental health solution. Behavioral health is really being looked at under a microscope right now, and what we can do in a Forsyth County centric thing. Myself and my office is facilitating that process. Over the next a couple weeks, we'll be formalizing what some options will be for that. So I think the takeaway is that it's not going away. What I can tell you is that we're looking at what other options might be available to provide those services to Forsyth County citizens.
And what's the best option and what's the best cost for the taxpayers of Forsyth County? Definitely in consideration there as well. And while we're on the topic of cost for taxpayers and costs in general, let's go through some of the funding for this project here at Freedom Park. Where are the funding sources coming from for this campus, and what are some of the misinformations that are out there?
Well, I can't speak to the misinformations. What I can speak to is the facts. In 2018 and 19, the Forsyth County Board of Commissioners made a strategic financial decision to set aside surplus dollars at the end of each budget year into a building fund just for this day. We're in a position, and you mentioned 280,000 population, we're in a position where we're about to pull the trigger and have pulled the trigger on contracting to build an administration building, of which we're not bonding. Because of the decision that was made in 2019 by the Board of Commissioners, those funds have been set aside each year in a building fund, and we have the money to build this project today without bonding it. What that means is we're not borrowing money to build this building. So the direct approach to this is that we're not borrowing money for the administration building. Also, as it relates to the funding for the employee center, so the majority of the employee center is being paid for by the employee benefits fund. And keep in mind, the employee benefits funds was dollars that were set aside for employees.
So again, to recap kind of where we are right now, we're talking about the new campus here at Freedom Park. We're talking about a campus that doesn't need to be bonded to be built, savings covering the cost of it. We're talking about a better employee center, better employee experience here, which has a direct ripple effect on the community itself by having the best employees possible to provide the services that we all get to enjoy every single day. Win-wins there. Now for the visitors coming to the building themselves, John, what kind of amenities can they expect? Because from what I've seen, there's a lot of technological advances, especially. They're going to make that experience so much better for people coming in for customer service.
There are.
General public parking will be out in front of the center. You'll be able to walk in the front door. We have an electronic queuing system, so residents, whatever you need, a business license, pull a permit, sit down with staff, you'll be able to get into a queue. There are windows where you can go meet with individual staff. We'll have huddle rooms and meeting rooms that are also on a reservation system that will be able to funnel people to the appropriate location so they can interact with county staff. Beyond that, there's an interior stairwell that's open, so departments will be able to move easily between one floor to the other. If we need to get individuals from the public back in that area, that can occur as well, so we can have face-to-face and small group or larger group interaction with the public.
So a lot there to take in for the end user, the stakeholders of Forsyth County, a lot of great amenities here in this campus, but for the employees as well, Charity, what kind of expectations can they have going into the Employee Center?
So the Employee Center is really geared to be a place where employees can go to really focus and regroup and work on themselves. So there'll be plenty of opportunities for them to go in and focus on their health and wellness, whether that means doing, a workout, meeting one-on-one with a health or life coach. There'll also be some components. We provide employee assistance programs, so the mental health component, which is a huge, buzz in today's society, that as employers, we really want to piggyback on that. And sometimes employees, who might just want a break, in their 15-minute break or their lunch break, just a place to go, read a book, have a little comfort to step outside of the day-to-day. And again, I want to reiterate that although that not every county employee is going to be located at this campus, this Employee Center, again, is for all employees. Even though some of our precincts or fire stations have workout amenities there because that's a part of their job, this is also a place that they can come and they can bring their dependents because they're on our health insurance plan, and we want them to be just as healthy and reap the rewards and benefits from their health and wellness as well. So we're really just looking at a place where they can go recharge, re-energize, commit to themselves for a better employee and then for us to have a better department and a better county. Just really piggybacking on the fact that Forsyth County in general is one of the state's healthiest counties, 4+ years running, and we want to emulate that. We want our employees to emulate exactly what our community is, and this facility is going to allow us to make that happen.
All right, creating a well-rounded employee and informed resident as well, another component of this new campus. The new campus, technically, David, just outside of the city limits. Currently, the administration building in the city limits, which is the county seat in the city of Cumming. This being just outside of the city limits, what does that mean for the business being conducted here by elected officials at the new facility?
So we are just outside the city limits. What does that mean? Like we just talked about, day-to-day administrative services of the county does not affect. Actually, just as we've all talked about, it'll provide a better customer service because of a more collaborative approach, as well as that one-stop concept. As it relates to the Board of Commissioners taking public votes, there is an archaic state law that's on the books that talks about the county site and county seat. We have had conversations with our partners at the city. We're going to continue that discussion, as well as our local delegation and even our state lawmakers. We are not the only county that is faced with this. There's a number of counties across the state that are faced with the same thing. As property and as space becomes a premium in the cities, there's nowhere to go but outside. We're also on the city's, John, correct me if I'm wrong, we're on the city's water and sewer service area here. So we're city sewer customers. The city's been good to work with through this process, and we'll continue to work with them to correct the archaic state law.
All right, so addressing just some of the questions out there that we've had at different board meetings and online on social media. We've covered a lot of ground here today. And before we wrap up, John, let's start talking about a timeline. I know a lot of people are anxious to hear, both employees and residents, when are we talking about breaking ground on this? When are we talking about having a building in the air?
So the county issued the contractor the notice to proceed last week. We expect them to mobilize literally any day now. Their base contract is a 27-month duration. There's some provisions in there to grant weather days and other provisions for time extension. So we should be in the 27 to 29 months completion time before we're ready to move in.
All right, and of course, for more information on the Freedom Park County campus and developments as they happen over that time period, be sure to visit us online at forsythco.com, and of course, follow us on social media. David, we're going to leave you with the last question here. Really, what does this project signify for the community? Because to me, it just says Forsyth County continues to grow, continues to be the best.
Yeah, Russell, we're setting an example certainly in this area. As you look around, there's not a whole lot of development up here. So we're going to lead by example, very much of what our commissioners expect developers to build. That's what you'll see. When you drive by, you'll see architecturally a building that meets our overlay standards. What does it also mean? I'm very proud to be standing here as the county manager because of the forward thinking that our commissioners did back in 2019, to where I'm not having to stand here and tell the citizens that we're going to bond this and it'll be a 15-year bond payback. We're not in that position. So I think that what it says is that Forsyth County has been fiscally responsible. We're going to do nothing more than what we ask our developers to build. We do have some space in this building. We've utilized every square inch of this building. There's some rooftop space that the general public can use, that employees can use a day like this. We're very lucky here at the end of February that we can even stand outside. If an employee so chose, they could go sit at that outdoor space, log on, and still be very efficient in what they're doing, and maybe even more efficient.
Well, that's going to do it for us here on The Move. David, Charity, John, thank you so much for your time. As always, we look forward to more updates here from Freedom Park, the new county campus here in North Forsyth County. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
As always, be sure to follow us on social media, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Nextdoor, and of course, online at forsythco.com for the latest for On the Move and all the latest news, information, and updates from your Forsyth County government. I'm Russell Brown signing off for now. We'll catch you next time on the Move.